One of the changes that the internet has brought to this generation who's been raised on it, is they have available to them more worldviews and more philosophies at their fingertips when they look for it, or they don't even need to look for it, than I think any generation of the past. And this changes and deeply influences the way that they think. Because Christianity comes across in the same platform as Buddhism, as Islam, as New Age, as Scientology, and kids without wisdom are unable to discern what is really true and what is not true. So how is it that we teach a biblical worldview amidst the cacophony of voices competing for our young people? Well, one thing is simply to have a plan. These things don't happen by accident. Have a specific plan for family, a plan for school, plan for a youth group, plan for your kids. And for me, that's why I wrote with my dad, The Unshakable Truth, is that here's the core truths that we need to teach. Here's how we know they're true. And here's how they specifically affect our lives. So I'd encourage you to take that book or resources like it and come up with a practical plan to teach a worldview to the next generation. A couple practical things my dad would do, and I do this with my students that I teach, is I love to use media and worldviews. Now there has to be discernment here, and that's what a parent and teacher, your discernment is going to come in, but worldviews are taught in movies. And I like to use those teachable moments to just kind of grab my students and say, look, they're saying something about the character of God. They're saying something about the nature of man. They're saying something about the purpose of life. How does that compare to a biblical worldview? And the other one is just look for teaching opportunities. Look for practical. It's amazing how opportunities just come up in life. I do this with my son. I look for current events to teach him. If a commercial comes on, if we're watching a ball game, I'll stop and I'll say, isn't that interesting? And just, it's amazing if we're aware of kind of the ideas coming through and trying to influence us and our young people, we can grab those, stop, and just have a quick teachable moment. And as you add those teachable moments up over time, it's an effective way to help train a young person in a biblical worldview. You know, the last thing I would say is studies show that much of worldviews are not explicitly taught, but they are caught through relationships. If you want a young person to have a biblical worldview, it's going to be important to develop your own worldview. We can only pass on to young people what we first learn ourselves. So study the unshakable truth, take it to heart, and it will help you pass on your worldview to the young people that you care so much about.